Hey guys, welcome to USUK Live. I'm trying to do Tom Bruno's bit. He was about to start the show, but he's also always on the phone. But here he is. Here is our one and only Mr. Tom Bruno.
Thank you. Let me try that again. Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Live.
Hey, there we go. That was awful. I wasn't. I went 3-2-1 we go live, and he picked up the phone. I was gonna.
I was in the midst of trying to message our esteemed guest. Hopefully he joins us.
We'll yeah, I hope so. Well, we can do our thing until he gets here.
Sure.
Want to introduce the rest of the team, buddy?
Sure, I can do that. As you can see to my my left, everybody else is right, or where the fuck ever. My esteemed colleague, one of my best friends that I have in the entire world, the Brit that knows his shit, Mr. Alex Whiteley.
Oh, I like that. The Brit who knows his shit. Thank you very much, man. Well up for tonight.
Yeah. Are you talking about your penis or you?
I'm propping up the table right now as we speak. One of the legs is broken. It's kind of like, oh,
is out here. Shit. Makes sense. They're both wood. So, all right. I was gonna. I know. There's other people, but I was gonna be like, oh well, which one am I gonna bring? But we'll just fuck it. Hey guys, you know him, you love him. He is the only other man in Vermont that I would wear his underwear 5 days consecutively and then lick his toes. I don't know what that means, but it means everything. Mr. Kenny Aldrich.
Hey. Hi, I'm here.
You are here.
Hello.
He's here. Hi. And I'm mute. Okay. So from Alex's neck of the woods, the next man needs no introduction.
You beautiful motherfucker. I was waiting for. I don't know if I'm like upset about that or like generally quite happy that I got no intro, but I needed no intro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going,
Mr. Tom
man?
Stevens.
Hey, TS is in the house. Sorry, I won't do that ever again.
Wow. How is everybody? Everyone good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm delicious, man. I am all delish.
That's a nice hat you're wearing there, Tom.
I don't want you going to bring this up, you prick. Yeah.
Oh, as if I wouldn't bring this up. Wow.
So what Alex is referring to, everybody that's watching this right now, is I thought it'd be a great idea to shave my head using an electric razor, and halfway through shaving my head, the razor broke. Yay! So I have a half-shaven head. All right. So no one's get to see that tonight.
Did you not think to just like whipped cream, shaving cream, whipped cream, and just lick it? Get someone to lick it off. No, we've got shaving foam, and then pick it off. Do you ever do that?
Dave wasn't here to put on the whipped cream for me tonight, so no, I'm joking. No,
Dave's not here, man.
I don't bick. I razor. I don't know why. I like the stubble effect.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I do now and again do a wet shave because sometimes it's just nice. It just feels good. But then I put my hat on afterwards, and I'm kind of like, I'll put my hat on after I've wet shaved because there's no grip. Honestly, that little bit of stubble that's on my head, that's what holds my hat on. When I clean shave my head and put my hat on, it just feels like it'll just fall off. It's just weird. It's just gonna
just like a pure egg.
Exactly. This people don't realize the trouble that we go through as bald people.
Oh, poor me, I'm bald. Oh no.
Dee Dee's laughing, and she says, "Show it." It's not happening.
You heard it, TS. Drop your pants. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's see it.
Is that what it is? See, his holds up a coffee table and yours wags. Is that how we know you're happy? Fucking awesome with wags in the front.
She wants to know if the carpets match the drapes.
Yes, it's a good question. So what did everyone watch this week? I knew what I watched this week. What did you watch this week, Alex?
I watched a fucking shit ton. I watched the South Park pandemic special, which is
how was that? They've been whoring that so hard the last couple almost feels like 3 weeks they've been.
It is spot on. It's absolutely spot on.
It's clever writing and it's cryptic as well. It's not even Okay, so it is cryptic unless you know South Park and you know where to look for things, because they're throwing jokes that don't seem funny at first, but they got Butters' dad at first, He's got his mask on, and he shouts at someone for wearing one underneath his nose. He's like, "It's not a chin diaper, man. You shouldn't be wearing chin diapers." And then you see him like later on in the episode doing the same thing, and then having to go at people for not wearing their masks over their face. It was just weird. Like, they tackled the Black Lives Matter thing. They they made it so that Mickey Mouse and Stan had fucked the bat, both fucked the bat that caused the. And it shows.
Randy.
What?
And it shows them like both Mickey and Randy like going to town on this bat, and I don't know how Disney haven't sued them. I really don't.
Freedom of expression. I mean, do they call him Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, straight up. The whole fucking thing. I think the whole last season and this episode is South Park going, come on then, come on us.
Yeah,
I fucking dare you.
They must have like the best lawyers on standby. I mean, right? They've been at it for what, like 18 years or something like that. What season is this?
24.
They've been on for 24 years.
Yeah, season 24 is coming. Yeah.
Wow.
And it doesn't look like it's going to end either. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's like it's one of those shows that they're getting better. Like a fine wine, they are maturing with grace, absolute grace. And they go in places in this pandemic special that you just. The Black Lives Matter thing is crazy, right? Because they forced the kids to go back to school. Oh, this spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it. If you want to, they forced the kids to go back to school. Eric is like, I don't want to go back to school. So he's, I'm sorry. So they literally the teachers have all quit because they don't want to get it, and the police have taken over as teachers.
Nice.
Right? And you hear the screaming and shouting, and the police are dragging in Cartman, and they put him into his fucking seat, and they handcuff him and stuff. And the kids all start kicking off and stuff, and the police burst in, and they're like, "We need to solve this. We need to solve this." And they literally just shoot the fuck out of Token, and they're like, "Right, job's done," and they walk out. He wasn't even doing anything. I was like, "Wow."
Yes, I can't believe they got away with that. And then there's the other bit that I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't like spoilers.
No, that's it. That's all I want to spoil. I just want to say thank you. Fucking thank you. Like, after all the shit that's been going on in 2020, thank you so much, South Park, for making me laugh at the things that have terrorized us this year. And it's a bit, yeah.
I was wanted to say about South Park is they are finishing at season 26. 26 is going to be the last, so reportedly so. 26 will be the final series with a movie afterwards to complete the whole thing.
Yeah, well,
apparently
we will see about that. We'll see about that. I mean,
I hope they keep going.
Yeah, me too. I love it. It's one of those things. What I love about South Park is it's one of those things you can leave for a season or two and come back, and then you just have the most amazing journey. Like,
I haven't watched since what was the season with the member berries, and they ended it with like really
21
something like that. Spoilers. I was taking a bunch of LSD that night, and the show got too real for me. It was when like Cartman got a girlfriend and all sorts of things, dude. It just became too much, and I was like, bro, I just can't handle this. And I fucking turned it off and haven't watched it since.
It's series 20, guys. I just checked. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible. The fact that the episodes now follow on from each other, I think I enjoy that more than when they were just. Some of the individual episodes are unbelievable. And there's obviously the banned episodes from series 14 with Tom Cruise because he got them banned for calling him a fudge packer. Don't know if you've seen those two.
No.
Tom Cruise is in the closet, and then R. Kelly. Go on.
Favorite South Park period. I mean, throughout the entirety of it.
Ooh, that's really.
Go on.
This last season, I think, has been the best season they've ever done. Like, they literally went all holes. Like with Randy Marsh, I made $500,000. Did you make $500,000? No, I don't think so. But I made $500,000. It's so fucking brilliant. Like, it's selling weed. Yeah. This season has been amazing, but I think for memory's sake, it's got to be the early sort of Barbra Streisand shit. Like, that was what hooked me. Yeah, I like the movie as well. The movie's outstanding. TS, have you got a favorite?
Yeah, the 1% from series 15, I think it is, where Cartman's toys start dying.
Actually, no. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. It's Butters when he finds the dirty video.
Oh, the Precious, my Precious. Oh, that's a good one.
So you can talk about this for hours, couldn't you? But yeah, I watched that. What else did I watch? I watched that Chicago 7, the trial of the Chicago 7 thing. It's fucking phenomenal. Brilliant. You need to watch that. It's released at the right time. Did I say right? It's at the right time. Because social justice obviously at the moment is everywhere. It's what everyone's talking about. And this was like, chapter 1. No? Probably like chapter 100 of social justice, season 100. And we're now in season 175. I know, I mean, like it carries on. Like we keep like trying to get like social justice for things that we shouldn't have to ask for, and this was in the 70s and we're still asking for that shit, so it's really appropriate.
Kenny, favorite South Park episode?
I'm a World of Warcraft player, so make love, not Warcraft. Hands down, as a gamer, yeah, the idea of just killing boars until you get fat and pimply it hits close to home.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Guys, if you want to throw in some South Park episodes, there's some weird stuff going on with StreamYard tonight. It's saying we've got no viewers, but we're getting comments in, so we are. I've had a nightmare putting this show together today, so StreamYard is running a bit behind, I think. But there are a few. There's a couple of comments here. Shane Hinton says, "How do?" And he says, "TS is being a thirst trap, biting his thumb on camera."
Was I doing that? Was I?
So hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
so sexy. So
the
sexy.
fact that
What about you?
Was actually doing that? That's fair enough. It's whatever floats his boat.
What about you, Tom? You didn't answer about your South Park episode.
I did not. It's going to be bigger, longer, and uncut. Period.
Maybe,
Yeah, absolutely. It came out of a time where I was very, very young. Like South Park was still like edgy as fuck. I mean, not saying that they're not anymore, but it was really like when parents were bashing against it nonstop. Nobody was like, everyone's like, fucking South Park. And how they respond with it. A fucking movie that tricks boys into liking musicals, fucking making fun of Canadians like nonstop, and fucking I hate fucking god dogs.
No. Can I finish? Can I say what I'm saying? Can I say? I love the Canadian stuff.
Okay.
Like, just suck my balls, Mr. Garrison.
I was thinking about President Garrison when he goes up to Canada and he fucks them in the ass. Literally. So
Have you guys played any of the South Park games that are actually decent?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I like the original one. It was a first person shooter. You threw snowballs that you could pee on. It was fucking excellent.
I've never played a South Park game. Never played them. I need to. No, I don't know. That's just. It's not that I never wanted to, but when you're in a shop and you're holding a South Park game or like the newest best shooter with all the amazing graphics and stuff that you can do, you're kind of like,
Okay, Stick of Truth is like $5, so it's not like you can make that excuse anymore. And Stick of Truth is like one of the only turn-based fighting games I've ever played that I really enjoyed. Everybody likes Final Fantasy for the most part, being the most famous one, or actually Pokemon is technically turn-based battle, so I like that as well. But like as far as this type of thing, Stick of Truth is fucking phenomenal.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a go. I will have to give it a go. Is that the one where the difficulty changes with the pigment of your skin?
Yes.
Does it?
Apparently so. The hardest setting gives you a black character. It's so obviously it's bad, but it's so fucking brilliantly true. And that's what I love. That's what I love about that South Park is, and they say time plus tragedy equals comedy. Like with 2020, they haven't waited for that time. They're just gone, we're gonna go after him. We're gonna go after him. I love that Mickey Mouse thing where he's got like all these computers around him, and he's answering phones, and he's doing all this because he's got Marvel and Star Wars and all this stuff. He's like, no, I said more Mandalorian. I said more. It's so fucking brilliant. Oh, anyway, So what else? I was watching. They've got a new series of Unsolved Mysteries out as well, season 2, which is great. I love that shit.
Oh, they have a season 2 already.
Already, this show is gone. Like, people are still trying to solve the mysteries from season 1, like on a massive scale. They'll sit there and try and solve the mysteries,
like they're fucking Encyclopedia Brown or something like that. They're like, oh, I know, it was Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with a knife. What the fuck? People are strange.
Yeah. What about you, Bruno? What you been watching?
Well, I watched The Boys.
Yeah. I watched that last week, and I've been waiting for you to watch this. TS, have you been watching any of The Boys? No,
Tom.
K-Dog, did you catch up with any of it? We did encourage you to carry on watching. Did you?
I didn't know.
No.
Okay. Well, let's not spoil it. I guess we'll save that. We'll give everyone a chance to catch up to it, and then on Saturday we'll just blow the fuck out of it.
Yes. We'll do that. But I do want to say, because I was kind of shitting on season 2. I was kind of like,
you were. What a prick.
I was. But that last episode, it was the best payoff.
Yeah,
it was like the slowest hand job you've ever had in your life.
Over a city, nonetheless.
What I find funny is that you said this was going to happen as well. You were like, "I'll get to the end of it, like that was one of the best seasons I've ever seen."
When it comes to my opinions and things, I'm not scared to change them, like, because I don't usually just shit on something from the beginning either. Usually it goes the other way around. I'm kind of like, "Whoa, this is amazing," and people are like, "Well, no, there was this problem, and then there was this problem." Justice League was the best example. Justice League for me, I came out of the cinema being this wannabe sort of movie critic who got my own podcast where I can have my own opinions, and I was kind of like, Justice League was amazing, and I would argue with people that said any different, but actually when I looked at the facts and watched it again, and I was like, no. Like, the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, it broke my heart to see Batman crouching over a bad guy that he's beating up, speaking to Alfred and calling him Alfred over the phone. I was like, oh. Like,
well, he's beating a guy unconscious. How much do you think he's really going to remember at the very end of it? He'd be like, you say Alfred, punch. I like candy. Bah.
But speaking
How much of that is rose-tinted glasses, though? Because we wanted that for so long. Like, we wanted that Justice League. And
I didn't.
No, I think you're right, actually, Kenny. I think you're right. The rose-tinted glasses, it was... I was drunk. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Big goggles, right? I'd wanted this for so long. And you know what? They lied to us with the trailer. They showed us fucking Superman floating in, like, what looked like Superman floating. They teased the fact there might be a Green Lantern in there. They did all sorts, and they would put things in the trailer that were not in the movie. And so when I went to watch the movie, I was kind of like, well, where's half of the shit we saw in the fucking trailer? Like, so yeah, I really do believe that this Snyder Cut is going to change things. I really do, honestly. I think after we see this Snyder Cut, possibly Ben Affleck will be reinstated as Batman, and maybe even this guy. Where's the picture? Oh, that wasn't a good thing. Maybe even try it again. This guy reinstated as Joker. This is everywhere at the moment. I've chosen this from Indie Mac User. And it says here that Jared Leto is to reprise Joker role for Zack Snyder's Justice League reshoots. Now, what are our thoughts on this? Me, TS, and Kenny have been debating this in the group. So I'm going to go to you, Bruno. What are your thoughts on Jared Leto getting a second shot at this?
I don't care.
Also, just to clarify, I didn't actually say a word when you were talking about.
Oh, it's Jamie, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, it's the same person. Jamie, Tom, Jamie.
Yeah,
they're all.
We're merging into one, I think, because every episode comes out of Chronicles every week.
She pretty soon to be Tammy or fucking Jom. There we go. Jom.
Oh yeah, Jom. Hello. I come from Sweden.
I don't care because I still have not even watched Justice League all the way through. I had a problem with Batman versus Superman. I did not think it was a movie that needed to be made yet. They needed to do Justice League first, then Batman versus Superman, the obvious, direct line to it all, and fuck me, right? So I still haven't watched it. I just, and I mean, I didn't really care about Jared Leto being Joker at all. I didn't really dig him in Suicide Squad that much. But I mean, like, if they're trying to like grab every last fucking potential viewer, it makes sense.
Yeah,
they really pimped him, didn't they? Why did they pimp him so much? Tattoos and fucking grills and shit. I don't get.
Because actually I have like this is the only thing I can actually defend when it comes to this Joker.
I'm not knocking it.
Oh no. Like I just have like an actual defense for it. So at the time when Joker was created, a gangster was a dude wearing a pinstripe suit, wearing a fucking pretty hat, driving a big fancy car and shit like that. So even though the Joker was the clown prince of crime, he dressed as if he was like a 1930s, 1940s gangster. Nowadays, if you were to what you would refer to as a gangster would be a tattooed, G'd up fucking dude from wherever it might be.
This is the worst time to interrupt this conversation because I think Bruno's right. We can absolutely elaborate on that. But I would like to introduce our guest because he's just turned up and it'd be very rude to leave him waiting backstage. So to the live show, just a heads up so don't be like, fuck those guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our guest, Mr. Mike Strawn. Thank you very much.
I am so sorry. Even to the British.
Don't be sorry. Don't you remember they colonized us at one point? Don't ever be sorry to them.
Yeah, but you gave us all.
That's such a fucking good point.
But you guys gave us all fucking yellow fever. So I mean,
what?
Yeah, me personally,
we did. Wow.
Me and my family,
we know.
Good for us too.
We know how you guys deal with pandemics. I mean, just
really badly.
Actually, my state,
we're number one.
I love it. Thank you very much, Mick, for joining us, and Tom, thank you so much for organising this.
We can thank Keith McCleary, friend of the family, Mr. Keith McCleary.
Hey, could you send him a message?
Yes.
Fuck that guy.
Ooh, he's a tough Canadian, bro. I'd watch him.
You know what? You're kind of like doing a sentence that kind of eats itself there.
It's a double negative or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's a double negative. You can't say tough Canadian.
Yeah, so that's how I got pimped to Mick here. Okay, so Mick, fucking, you've had a storied fucking career. Here are just some of the things that you've been a part of. I looked at your IMDb this morning because I knew about two things. And that's what interested me the most because my favorite I actually have a tattoo from the Clive Barker book to represent the end for Nightmare chapter, which is, of course, Representative Wes Craven and Nightmare on Elm Street, something that Mick fucking worked on. Number 3 and 4, two of my
By the way, the two best looking, and the two that most represent what the fucking nightmare should have been all the way through, right?
Yes. Very much so.
Just
3,
saying.
if you were to cut out some movies, and I'm going to cut out 4 just to be a little shitty about this, but if you were to play a saga of Nightmare on Elm Street, you can literally get away with playing 1, 3, and fucking 6. The Nancy Thompson saga, as you would call it, in 3 is an integral part of that. It sets up so much, and there's so much about that fucking movie that is done so incredibly right, and it's one of the last good ones where Freddy Krueger did this really good combination between being funny and being scary as fuck.
I really don't know about being as scary as much. Although I will admit that walking down with his veins like this.
Yes.
Come on, guy. Come on, dude. You know what? I got to see that one before we kept cutting it for the MPAA, and I have to tell you, the cut that we had, we were invited down just to see that by itself, right? Just after they got done doing it. And they were asking us if we actually thought that it was going to get past the MPAA, and I was like, "Oh my God, that it was." You're walking out of the screening room, right? And everybody, we can't even use our arms on the door because it was insane. The whole whipping up the arms, and I, in defense of 4, I say 4 was a visual masterpiece.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, by itself, you never you never got that level of um, uh, mechanical effects, makeup effects, practical effects. The thing is 4 was like the last time that everything was still really huge, but just absolutely practical. It was all there. I mean, even down to the cockroach scene. I bet you didn't know this. In the cockroach scene, when you're looking at Freddy through the end of the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's practical.
Really?
That's not optical. What that is that's called rear screen projection. And
Okay.
what we did is we literally taped a piece of very thin muslin over the end of the set, and we projected back at us the scene with Freddy looking in the box, and his commentary and stuff. We literally filmed that on location, the very first scene that we did. So that was actually done in camera. If you had looked in the camera at the time, you would have seen that whole thing. And it's because we didn't have any time, But it ended up looking exactly as it should have. But I have to tell you, from the point of view of being a filmmaker, the thing that was really fun was there was a sync box, which was like literally a box that you hold in your hand that slows down the projector or speeds it up, and you could look in the camera and you could sit here with your little box, and you had to do this. You had to sit in the box, and you had to turn the rheostat until the speed synced up between the camera and the projector, and what you would see is you would see like an eighth of a frame, right? And then as you turned it and slowed it down, you would see the frame come up until it was a full frame. That was like so cool. It was so the ultimate filmmaking, Of course, we didn't know that every motherfucking thing in the world was going to change in just a few years. And think of how many people started on 4 and started their careers out. So that's my pitch for why I believe 4 should be included with 3.
The only reason I did not include it with 3 is because Nancy, spoilers, dies at the end of 3, and that's the only reason I didn't include it when I put it 3. They're both stunningly beautiful, especially when you consider that 3 takes place in fucking maybe 4 different places throughout the entirety of the movie. There's like Kristen's house, there's the hospital. I'm trying to remember exactly what St. Hills or whatever the fuck it was. They bring it back in Freddy vs. Jason. Right. They have the graveyard, so you were a set designer for that. You designed the graveyard, eh? Art director, excuse me. I'm very sorry. I fucking quickly did this. So art director, so that means that explain that a little bit better for anyone that's listening, what exactly an art director does.
An art director is the guy that oversees the sets and the locations. Okay. And the underneath the art director would be working with the locations manager, the set dressing crews, the construction crews. You're the one that comes up with the ideas, how everything looks, you're the one that does the look. Now, a production designer, which is what I was on 4, which was basically, it was kind of the same thing in the case of those 2 movies. But the production designer just kind of puts his finger everywhere. And I did on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I did more because I actually helped with set. I was working with with Peter Chesney in his shop when we set up all the practical, all the mechanical effects, like the
giant snake would be one of those.
The giant snake would be the giant snake before the snake actually comes up. All the mechanics of it are actually mechanical effects. Other mechanical effects things would be like the beds rigging it from one place to another, because the bed that Joey's on, Joey was a pain in the ass because because we had to try so hard to kill him, and annoy him no end at all times, because we hung him on the side, we hung him upside down, and we strapped things to his chest and made him sit where we had to get underneath and pee into bottles, because he had things strapped to his chest for 16 hours. But at the same time, he did get the tits. So
he did. What Mick is referring to?
Both times, 3 and 4, he got the tits.
He did. He really did.
Even though we tried to drown him, he still did get the tits. So in the end, I don't know how that I don't know how in life that evens out, but yeah.
It's always the quiet guys. Always the quiet guys.
Isn't it though? Isn't it?
For anyone that's not familiar with the movie, there's a character named Joey who is he's a mute of sorts. He's not really a mute, but he doesn't talk throughout the entirety of the movie. He has the hots for this one blonde nurse that some scumbag other orderly has the hots for as well. Near the end of the movie, when they actually become Dream Masters, they become Dream Warriors. Excuse me. He has a dream about this nurse, and of course, being a teenage boy, he's like, I'm gonna follow the fucking hot nurse, even though we're in a nightmare. Go fuck me. And it's Freddy, of course. So she spits out her fucking tongue on his hands and lashes him down to the bed, and it's a fucking amazing sequence. Once again, I got the box set for Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 12 years old. It's one of the most incredible films. Is one of the ones that scared me the most as a kid. At least the first one always fucking scared me. And then as you get older, you appreciate the movies for boobs, for a whole bunch of other reasons, and they're fucking phenomenal. Now, you did other stuff. You did. I looked at your fucking IMDb, and I was, get the fuck. He was on that and that and that. So first of all, you were on the original, not the show, but the fucking movie of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is one of the craziest things in the world, because it started everything. It started fucking everything. The one thing that nobody wanted.
As soon as everybody.
Few gremlins there. Few gremlins.
Yeah. Not the cool Andrew Zemeckis. Yep, you're back. Or he's not.
Brian Plado says,
you've been freezing. And again.
Whoa.
StreamYard. I blame StreamYard.
No, I blame Hollywood for not paying him enough to pay his internet bill.
Yeah, Hollywood, you motherfuckers!
You saw this guy out, man, and gave us some of the best visual effects ever. Physical, but Brian Plado says, "Yo, Brian is hopefully coming on our live show next week."
See, the thing is, though, I don't like the way Mick is frozen, because it looks like he's really mad at us right now. Like he did something stupid, and I feel like
what did you say about me?
Exactly. Did you fucking just say Buffy over fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, you motherfucker? What if Mick showed up to my house tomorrow and he's like, I'm gonna fucking art direct your face, and he just knocks me the fuck out. While he's away, I'll tell you guys the other movies. He was fucking art director for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was involved in Blade, the fucking which is so funny, right? Because he did one vampire hunter to another vampire hunter, and they're completely fucking different.
Yes, they are. He's
Boogie Nights. He was involved in Boogie Nights. Fucking what else? There was an entire listing of just the craziest list of fucking movies that I'm like, man, we get to talk to this dude. Fucking, he's coming back. He's come back.
Hopefully.
I'll remove him because I know that circle there, it stresses people out. I'll wait for him to be back.
So
he's back. Yay, man.
Yeah.
Is it just my connection, or are we all having a problem?
No, just yours. Just sort it out. Sort it out, Mick. He's gone again.
just mine, right?
Yeah. That's okay though, because it's Alex's fault. When everything boils down to the very bottom, it's Alex's fault.
Isn't it nice to have a go-to jinx?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. So
David is near this week.
So you were involved in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Let me hold this. Let me hold that one up, because I was and I wasn't. I came in with Josh Whedon, and he was going to direct, and I was going to production design with Josh. Mm-hmm. And Josh wound up losing the position of being a director, and I had to leave with him. And later on, I came back and was just involved in like a lot of the rigging of the football, of the stuff that happened in the basketball courts and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was the extent of. But and the weird thing is of all the things that get into my resume that people, really get into, is they really love that one. Yeah. But let me tell you how inaccurate our IMDb page is. Have you ever heard of a film called Sid and Nancy?
Yes.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
I was the art director on that. But
really?
You would never fucking see that for IMDb, because IMDb is kind of cursed with their process for like fixing things is so involved that when you're as old as I am and IMDb came so late, I don't actually give a fuck. I mean, people say that I should, but yeah, I'm just curious as to
I'd love to be on IMDb and just be like, walk somewhere and be like, where's your qualifications? I'd be like, have you got IMDb?
I don't know why I should care one way or the other, but you're not on it. But they don't know that. I go, yeah, okay.
So it says we're. Sorry, no, you go first. You go first.
I just want to get this out of the way. Brian says Paul Rubens' death in Buffy was epic. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Mick, for that. We appreciate you killing Paul Rubin.
Any day.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's go through this and see what you actually were a part of. Let's see how much IMDb really fucked up. Okay. What did you do for Blade, sir? Were you a part of Blade?
Yes.
All right.
I actually was Blade. I didn't get. You know what? You know why I did on Blade? Because it's the fucking most epic part of Blade.
What is it?
The blood scene.
Get the fuck out of here.
The blood shower. I did the blood shower. Yeah.
With fucking Tracy Lords and that is a great opening sequence. And
it is.
If no one fucking let anyone forget that Blade starts the Marvel universe. It is the beginning. It is the origin point.
Well,
kind of.
No, wait a minute, because that should actually go to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, which you were also a part of. That's something. Okay, so the movie it wasn't even released, was it? Was that because I've never fucking seen it, but I've only heard about this movie.
Here's the weird thing about it is that Ole Sassoon, who is the director, and it is very, very, very low budget. It was kind of made originally just to hold on to the rights to the Fantastic Four by a company called Constantine, and we had to make a viable film by the end of the year, and it would have never been seen if Ole hadn't stolen a print, and I went and did all the miniature effects in it and put it together, and we sent it out into the world. And the funny thing about it is this: Ole has always complained, and he even made a film where he's complaining that his version never got released, but here's the thing. That unreleased version of Fantastic Four has been seen probably 20 times more than it would have had it been released.
Because it's like tainted fruit, or like the apple, man.
It's like your favorite underground version of Fantastic Four.
That being said, I've never ever felt like watching the Tom Cruise version of The Mummy. Because I'm just like, I've heard it's bad.
It's you know what? Yeah, I'm with you totally. Absolutely. There's so many effects in that film. It's and they're really bad, and they're really plastic looking. And you think to yourself, well, he probably just got scanned in his bathroom and just and they took that and did it with him. Yeah.
I didn't see it. I like Brendan Fraser's version way too much. That is the epitome of at least like 2000s mummy films. Obviously, if you want to go Boris Karloff, you can. Yeah.
I've got a question. I've got a question for you, Mick. When you brought onto the set and to do art design for a project like Blade or like Nightmare on Elm Street, does it help to be a little bit batshit crazy?
Oh, absolutely. There's two things that helps you out here, and I'll one of them I'll just tell you that one of the most important things is to set the level high at the outset. Because then, if you do something batshit crazy later on, they have a metric by which to measure you by, and you don't get arrested as easily. That's what I've heard. That's the way that I've seen it.
I love that. Brian Playday, who's in the comments, is having a field day here. He says that he had a copy of that Fantastic Four, and there's a documentary called Doomed.
Yes, Doomed. With Oli Sassoon complaining that it was never released, and it's just a good thing it wasn't.
For some reason, I just see like someone telling David Goyer being like, "Hey man, fucking so Mick wants to do a bloodbath scene," and he's like, "Oh, isn't that the guy that took a shit on set the first day? Yeah, let him do it. He's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
That's
no
right.
problem."
Well, I was going to tell you the second thing that's good about it is I did this really weird. It was a live action with a cartoon dog, and the cartoon dog was called Hollywood Dog, and really it is so painfully bad. Oh man, it's like the dog looks real and everybody else looks like a cartoon in it. but the thing is during that show, I had a meeting where Hollywood Dog was a cartoon. It was in this magazine, and there were like 14 people that were executive producers because they were involved in the company that was releasing it, and they were involved in the company that was backing it, and involved in the people who had the dog and the people who were the writers, and they had these 14 people. And the very first line of it says that the dog lived in an apartment that was Hollywood eclectic. That was the style. They called it Hollywood eclectic. Now, here's the problem. You have 13 executive producers sitting around a table looking at a model that you made that's of something that is deemed as Hollywood eclectic. And every one of those producers is convinced that whatever they had in their home was Hollywood eclectic. See what I'm saying? So they set it around. As this meeting started, they had already been arguing for like half an hour, even before the meeting started, about whether the ashtray was right. Serious, swear to God. And then we started into the Barca Lounger. You get it? Barca Lounger, Hollywood Dog, Barca Lounger. Then we started into the argument about the Barca Lounger, and I knew that this meeting right here was essentially going to be my lifetime. And we went on for about another half an hour, and finally I just had enough, and I just started to reach in and go, "Oh, you don't like the ashtray? Let's do this." And I just grabbed the ashtray off the model and ripped it off and threw it down on the ground and stepped on it. And then I said, "You don't like the Barca Lounger? Fine. Fuck it." Grabbed the Barca Lounger, threw it on the ground, stepped on it, ground it in, and I proceeded to take everything in the set, the palm trees that were outside of it, just gathered them all up and then crushed them, and then into the walls and
you think these extras look really bad? Flamethrower.
So then I turned around and I figured I was fired, and I turned around and I just stormed out the door, right? I went back and I had other things to do. I started doing them, right? And they called me a couple of days later and they said, just like nothing had happened, at all. Like we were still on and everything. And then I learned that everybody was just afraid to talk to me. for the rest of the show, which was perfect. I mean, it was perfect. The thing is I could come in and do what I want. I literally could have taken a shit, like you say, in the middle of the set. And nobody would have tried. First of all, they wouldn't have bothered me about it at all. Second of all, I doubt that they would have even touched it.
That's Hollywood eclectic right there.
That was my prop. I left it there.
That's right.
Tom, have you seen any of these movies?
No.
No.
No, you see now. Hold on. Now I got to go back. I got to go back. What a weird career to have had been in so many movies that are still known about. Because I have so many friends that worked as long as I did, that that somehow weaved their way around, and they just have pictures that just nobody gives a crap about. I mean, I don't understand how that happened.
But with that experience and with that knowledge, is there something you've seen recently that you would have loved to have been a part of?
There's a show. There's a thing called Dave Made a Maze. It was a film. I can't think. Literally, it's about a guy. A woman comes home. She has an apartment with her boyfriend. He's an angsty 20-plus-year-old, and in the middle of the apartment, she's been gone for 2 weeks, but in the middle of the apartment is a bunch of glued together, taped together boxes, and she can hear his voice in it, and it's a maze, right, that he made, and he can't find his way out, and she gets sucked into it along with a bunch of his friends and a camera crew, and they have to go through this incredible maze. It is utterly beautiful, and it's made with nothing but cardboard, and it is such a trip. It is absolutely and it's a horror film. It's a great horror film. There's even a part of it that they all convert to Muppets for no discernible reason. And it's a crack up. It's every time like somebody loses their head or something, yarn comes out. Huge amounts of red yarn go screaming out, and it's fucking hilarious.
Now I want to see that.
I've got to ask though. As a guy that uses like the physical effects that you see, the things that we all grew up with, like Gremlins, the stuff you see in Star Wars, Nightmare on Elm Street, for example, the props that they use. They went for this thirst for CGI for a long time. I mean, from 98, but the Spawn director's cut. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my it's so bad, right? And they've kind of they pumped all these CGI kind of movies out. Now the thirst for that CGI stuff is leaving now, and people want those physical effects back again. Why? Why do people want this back? Is it familiarity, or does it just look better?
Well, there's an order to these things. Here's the thing. The way that you used to do a sequence is you would use many different types of effects to get yourself through a given sequence, right? And what we had started to do in the 80s and the 70s, we had started to make more complicated sequences with basically effects that had been around since like 1915. I mean, we hadn't been doing anything new. We just been combining it better, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is the ultimate wide shot of most of this stuff was a blue screen shot. And what you would do is you would use a blue screen shot for a wide establishing of an effect shot, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't use it too often because they didn't look good. It didn't look natural, right? Mm. And it was all those other parts and effects that really sold it to you, because and here's the thing that you probably don't understand about CGI is CGI does not do chaos well, and chaos is what makes a great fucking effect, right? It's the thing that you just can't plan. Let me give you a perfect example of this. On Nightmare on Elm Street 4, we had a problem. We got locked into a loop. And you see the loop. If you watched film before, the film has a loop in it, right? And the loop is she runs around the corner of the truck, and then they go out, and then they go on the truck, and we're gonna go find Freddy, and then all of a sudden they're coming back around the same building again, right?
Yeah.
Now, as much as the film itself was a loop, that was where the script. There was no script beyond that point because the script was only 60 pages long. So literally, we got a film company caught in the same loop the script was in. And I know this sounds really weird because it's sort of like life imitating art as art fucks life, you know? So we were having this meeting. This meeting keeps going on and on and on. Basically, if you've ever read my book, it's actually in my book, this whole story about this meeting. And in this meeting, for some reason, we have Freddy flying an airline, and we couldn't decide whether Freddy's the pilot or the stewardess, and you know how many shots that we're going to see of this. And I think it came up on another, you know, one of the nightmares later on. But I was like just sitting there, guide, you know, this is quite possibly the worst piece of shit, you know. and I like was head in my hands, kind of wishing I could die because I had other things to do. We were literally filming, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I literally said this. I said, God, I wish we would just hit nothing. And there's this PA sitting on the side of me, and I didn't even know. You know, as you can tell, I was born without an inside voice, and it's like this PA that was sitting over to the right was like, oh, well, what would that look like? And I was like, oh, wow, somebody actually said that. And then I noticed that everybody was looking at me, and everybody had heard me say that. I was like, well, you know, I don't know. I said, it would be like you had an accident into your own bumper.
Yeah.
And I laid it all out, and I said, well, you know, if we took a cable, we tied it to the bumper and tied the cable to an enormous tractor and put a camera right there, and then, you know, ran the truck to the end of it, that it would run into its own bumper. And eventually that is exactly what we did. And I have to say, nobody knew what that was going to look like. Nobody had any idea. We had a pretty good idea, but the thing is, there was a heavy chaos factor to it. Like, for instance, the motorcycle that is strapped in the back of the truck. Literally, everybody had bets on what was going to happen to the bike, and I had my bets on the bike was going to flip over the cab, and you were never going to see the bike again because we were going like 60 miles an hour. So, and I swear nobody figured that it would bottom on its shocks, release the cables, and then flip up in the air, do a complete loop, and land right back in the back of the truck. I mean. Yeah. Who the hell would have had money on that, you know? And but the thing is the whole idea of the chaos of not knowing what that's going to look like, and chaos is just more interesting to look at. You know what I'm saying? Think that when you do CGI, you have to figure out absolutely everything that's going to happen, and the unpredictability of it. Or the fact that it has predictability makes it very difficult to use. But the combination of all these things is, and the bottom line is this: is CGI is a great thing. Unfortunately, it's too important. It's too easy for a producer to use it, and therefore make his filming very much easier. You know. He'll know exactly what he can do in a day, because he doesn't have an effect that only works 80% of the time to possibly screw up, right?
Yeah.
And that made it too easy. That took an awful lot of power out of the hands of the director, put it into the producer, and filming just plain suffered from then on because of it. And the reason that practicals are coming back in is because it just didn't fucking work, right? It works as a tool. It doesn't work as the tool.
I think one of the best examples will probably be Alien, right?
Yeah.
That scene is just movie, just gold, right? That chest burster coming out, no one knew what was going on. The panic,
yeah.
The chaos, like you said, right?
You know, it's just the blood going, everything, and at the same time, Alien compared to Aliens to me also, the fact that you don't show the monster very much, it makes Alien so much more of a creepier film. Up until the very last scene where you have one of the worst rubber dummies. I mean, you know, considering how well they really did that movie, that if they could have gone away without that final scene with the rubber dummy, I mean, sort of God. I mean, my kids go around and do, you know, dinosaurs better than that guy did.
I think it's very comparable to the actual Alien they put in the movie ride in fucking Disney World, because they have the great movie ride where you go around, and Aliens is one of them. But the thing is, Alien works better because it's an actual horror film. Right. Aliens is an action movie, which is fine and everything, but Alien is
two completely different films.
Exactly. They really are. And I completely agree with you about the chaos factor of it all, because when you have no idea what's going to happen, like when you said with the bike, when the bike went up in the air and spun around, you had no idea that it was going to be visually that attractive or work like that. Right. Everybody had their own thoughts of what was going to happen. So when you have this factor that's going to play out in front of you that nobody has a clue what it's going to be, it makes the movie more visually interesting to watch.
You rehearse it, because effects can be a lot like actors and actresses. You know, you don't know what that final look of that final take is going to be, because it's going to be a little bit different, and you know, there's going to be a best take out of everything. You're not going to get that with CGI, and but the thing is CGI is being relegated to the things that it knows best nowadays, and we're back to, you know, makeup effects and mechanical effects and all the rest of it.
The thing about it is, like, because there's a feeling that gets put out, like the crew, like, you can almost feel it's almost tangible when something crazy happens that's physical and that actually happened in front of everyone. You know, everyone's like, "Oh my god, that fucking worked!" You don't get that when you have something as planned out as you do with CGI, because you know it's gonna fucking work.
Completely true. I mean, George Miller's Mad Max,
yes,
is a great example. I mean, he did so much of that real, so much of that real, and you could just tell. I mean, you can tell that CGI was relegated to the things that it does best. CGI kind of helped put things together, and it helped with the weather, you know, the big stuff. It was relegated to where it works best, and I think that he got a really good balance on that.
And I think there's an element of okay, so we all remember those movies from when we were kids, right? Those movies that we enjoy, and we can go back and watch them movies and enjoy the ones where, you know, those movies that we've all been talking about. But I was watching Avengers Endgame a couple of weeks ago,
yeah,
and I watched a scene with Thanos, and I was kind of like, that looks really bad. I never realized at the time. I never realized that. You know, when everybody went to watch Avengers Endgame, everyone was like, "This is the best movie ever." But like, you look at Thanos and the way they animated, and you're thinking, "This isn't going to age well." Well, and that's really weird to think about. It really is.
And you also have to remember this: is that if you're working, you have a lot of people working, a lot of different companies, a lot of different crews within a given company, and not all of them are playing the A game. You know, and bad CGI is much worse than the worst practical effect you could get.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Todd McFarlane.
Okay. Because we're running short on time, and I want you to be able to.
There's a time limit.
There's a little bit. Sorry, with it, we run into an hour. We do, but I want to give you the full hour so we can go a few more. But
Yeah, of course.
Tom Stevens, the man below me, the red-haired, bearded,
He's not said
bastard,
a fucking word for this whole.
He's not said a word.
He's very quiet, isn't he?
Not
He's
normally.
very quiet, not normally. But here's the thing. Now, Tom Stevens lives life. He does things. He doesn't just sit around and watch movies. Even though
I thought he said he lives a lie. He lives a lie.
He lives a lie. He lives a life, and he doesn't watch a ton of movies. Mick, tell him why he should watch fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, in particular your Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Oh, because I worked on them.
Yes,
Dub, sold.
absolutely.
Sold.
Yes.
Sold. Mick, I love you. I can speak to you for hours. I think you're a Mick. Can we get you back on?
Sure, you know what? That's not a problem at all. I have a lot. I've done a lot of things. You know what? We ought to talk about the what was the one that I did about the porn?
What?
Zach and Miri?
No. You have to look at it. I can't even think of the name of it. The one about the one with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, what the fuck was that? Fucking goddamn it. Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights.
We'll do one, and we'll start with Boogie Nights, which has got some of the most bizarre stories. Just really, really pretty twisted.
I'll tell you what we can do. Let's do this. Let's actually plan this, right? Let's give TS a list. We've been doing this. We've been playing with this idea for a while. Let's give TS a list of 3 or 4 movies of yours that he can go and watch.
Yeah.
And then you can interview him on what he thought about the movies. What do you think?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, just things that are a lot of fun. You know what? Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. I'm making a list. You made Mortal Kombat.
But
You're Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so there's another one that doesn't get out very much, right?
You made Mortal Kombat. What?
He's like, don't give me that. Don't give me that. I didn't make it. Hard design.
Okay, you want a story for the end of this?
Yes.
Right? Okay. You're going to like this story. Okay. I was going down the road. Can't remember what I was doing. I was kind of in between shows. And I had a friend of mine call up and said, "Hey, I need you. I need a fresh set of eyes on something." And I said, "Okay. I happen to be in town. Where can we meet?" And he goes, "You know what? I'll meet you over at Photochem, which was a place in Burbank that developed film. And the advantage to you used to meet people at those places because they had screening rooms, right? Mm. And they would throw up the film that you were working on at the screening room, being as we didn't have videotape and shit like that. So I show up in Burbank a couple hours later, and they show me a film. And when it's done, he says, "What the fuck is wrong with this? Why does it sit so flat up there?" And I go, "Well, as far as I can tell, the problem that you have, and you made this, and of course we're talking about Mortal Kombat, right?" And I said, "It seems like you made this off of a game, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, you've heard of the game." I said, "Yeah, I've heard of the game Mortal Kombat." I said, "I think that you got mixed up between making a game and making a movie." Because the games at that time were, and especially Mortal Kombat, because it was kind of one of the first of these, that you had a pair of characters that were fighting here, and there was a background scrolling behind it, right? And I said, "That's what you've done here. You've done a bunch of fights that are these fights, and then you make these then you have like dialogue in between them and stuff like that. But you have these fights, and they're sitting static within beautiful backgrounds. And I said the problem is that is a game where you are making the interactions, and you don't have an interaction anymore. You just have people fighting. You're watching the fighting, and you need more interaction than that, because it begins to be just if you're just sitting here watching it, it gets very repetitious. And little did I know that, someday soon that it would be an entire genre of watching people watching other people play. But this was before that, I could mock it back then.
So this is the game or the movie?
The movie.
This is the movie of the game.
Yes. Yeah. So Mortal Kombat. We've got that.
So you got that part. So I said, here's what we're going to do.
Oh.
We will make a segment. We will, first of all, we'll find a segment, and we will go through and we'll take the other segments. We'll make little places where we can bring the scenery in, and we'll do close-ups of like scenery being broken and stuff like that, so that this can be more like, for instance, Princess Bride. The fight sequence on the rocks on Princess Bride. Okay, that was all choreographed within the rocks, so that it was an interesting thing to watch, right?
Yeah.
So what I said is, and then we'll make one huge scene that will be completely done. It will be completely part and parcel of the set, and that should create a dynamic in it that's more interesting to watch. And so the first scene that I did was the one that has the blade spinning around in the middle of it.
Yeah.
The big, huge blade, right? Okay. We added that scene. And then the second one was I found a blimp hanger. We blacked out the entire inside of it. And then we set up a huge scaffolding. And we welded pieces onto it and stuff, and we walked through the entire sequence of Scorpion's lair and Scorpion's death. And then I came in and I got a boat. We bought half of a boat of bamboo and had it shipped constantly out to this enormous set that we had. It was 100 feet high, 100 feet deep, 130 feet wide, and we started with 8 condors, those really high 120-foot lifts, and we started at the top and we worked our way down, and we built bears. That the concept was that this was where they buried their dead, right? They were all mummies, right? And that was the concept. What happened in reality is that we built the bears, and then we got 60 of those blow-up porno dolls, and we wrapped them with bandages, and then cobwebbed them. So that's what you're looking at when you see that scene. Is you're looking nothing but bamboo and wrapped up porno dolls, and we put that all together, and then I had the optical guys open up what I call an optical asshole, because it used to be done in a grove of trees, right? And that particular sequence was so hideously boring, you wouldn't believe it. And so I said, and they said, well, how do we get into the sequence? And I go, well, just put yourself an optical asshole right here in the middle of that first scene, and you've got it. And I'm not kidding. I described it as an optical asshole. And if you look at it, it looks like an optical asshole. And you're into the scene. So that was
right. I'm going to put into Google
optical asshole. Add it to Mix IMDb. So when people fucking know, they look like, oh, Mike Strawn, you mean the man responsible for the optical asshole? Of course.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so Tom has to watch Mortal Kombat. Give him 4 more films of yours that he has to watch before next time we meet up.
Well, The Hidden. You gotta watch The Hidden.
Yes.
if you haven't watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, you should. But because you just should.
Yeah.
That's plenty enough for us to talk about. We'll talk about all those. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, because it'd be really quick, and I have a lot of great stories about it. You might watch Fantastic Four.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll try and find that as well.
It's really, really easy to find. It's on YouTube.
Oh, beautiful. That's sorted then.
I've sent that list to him. Let's meet up in about a month's time. Let's get you on the show, and we will do that.
Would you an actual episode this time?
Can I point out a couple of things that I'm doing right now?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That was the next thing.
I have my own. I do have a couple of podcasts. I have Rabbit Hole, which is a lot of fun, and it's me poking fun at people, and I think that you can imagine that I'm pretty good at that. Oh, by the way, Keith. There's that. I have a million projects that I'm working on, but this summer I'm going to be directing a film called The House in the Woods, which is just going to be the most amazing horror film. I mean, it's going to be a horror film. It's a gang film, a horror film, and a Kids Lost in the Woods film all at the same time. Can it get any better than that?
It's like
No,
Hansel and Gretel
absolutely
and
not. No,
Instagram combined together. I fucking
that
love
was
it.
amazing, by the way. The way we all just went, no.
I can't get any better than that. I swear to God.
Fuck, how can you even try?
So there's the rabbit hole. Fucking what else you up to, Mick? What you have a book? What's your book called?
Oh, I keep forgetting. I have a book called Behind the Scenes. It's all about Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I'm working on one that's going to be called Behind the Screams 3, and it's about Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I did not make the second book because I didn't want to make the same mistake that New Line did.
Yeah. Fuck Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Dist, and dist.
I've got to say, I've never seen the Rob Zombie version of
Halloween. Yeah.
But I love Rob Zombie. So, look, Mick, we've got a couple of comments that I've been through going through the show. We haven't had a chance to go through, so I'm going to go through them very quickly.
Okay,
and if there's a question there, one word answers. Okay. Was Wesley Snipes a total?
Right?
Andy Imov says, was Wesley Snipes a total douchebag on the set of Blade?
Yes, he was.
Brian just says here that he was the model for Mark Wahlberg's prosthetic in the end of Boogie Nights. Brian is a background actor. He's just played Death in the new Bill and Ted movie. He says the Hidden is a fucking fantastic movie. I have it on VHS, DVD, and iTunes.
It really is one of the best films of the 80s, and it's completely underrated.
George Lugo says, what up, boys? Ryan Williams says, I watched Final Fantasy Fantastic Four Stoned on YouTube. It's better than I expected.
Yeah, me too. Same exact thing.
Brian says he loves Dream Warriors. I'll bet
Who
you
doesn't,
do,
right?
you naughty little devil. And George says,
Dream Warriors is the better film, and I still like to watch Dream Master more. Okay.
Ooh.
Nice. And Ryan Williams, George says, I suggest Monster Squad. Great 80s movie, just in time
But
for
Nick
Halloween.
wasn't on Monster Squad, so what's that have to do with what we're saying right now?
George has just chimed in. He's just chimed in.
Bad.
Right. Rob Zombie Halloween felt like a bad acid trip that focuses on masks. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Right, look, Mick, would you quickly help us with a little competition we run every week before we get out of here? We have a thing called USUK at Photoshop. It's basically we set a theme for the week and we get people to Photoshop. I've done it again, by the way. We had a picture of our own Jamie Westwood holding up the hot sauces that we're going to be using in our hot sauce quiz with Andy McElfresh next week. And we asked people to Photoshop them. There's the hot sauce. There we go. And this is what I did. I kind of messed around with it, turned it into some optical illusion there. I turned him into a peeping Tom. I love that one. And this is a reoccurring weekly thing, is I threw in the old picture of Jamie from when he was a bit of a
douchebag.
Yeah, we love him. And we got one here from you, Tom, which is this one.
That was good. I did not take any time with this.
Oh gosh, never seen that before.
Yeah, I know, right? What is that? What is that? So weird.
Oh god. And so we have a few people that have written a few things, and we would like you to choose a winner, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
So this one was sent in by Gemma Williams of the Talking College Wallet podcast, and she says, Jamie's favorite porno. Only shame is Kevin Smith doesn't appear, and if you look closely, it is the Clerks, a porn parody.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
You've got
I've got it in the collection over here. Yeah.
Nice. I bet Kevin Smith does too. I bet he loves it. I don't know who did this. I bet it's Jamie. It says here, Swedish-made penis enlarger pumps and me. This sort of thing, it is my bag, baby, by me. I think that's by Jamie.
Here's a problem. It being European, the thing is when it says that it's going to enlarge you to 10, it means centimeters.
Oh,
not inches.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You're probably really not getting your money's worth.
And then the final one is from Alan James, and he's holding a porno there called "Come to Granny." There we go. That's our Jamie there. So we would like you, Mick, to choose a winner. So we've got Clerks porn parody with Gemma Williams. We've got the Swedish porn thing here, which is, I think, is by Jamie. He doesn't deserve to win. That's disqualified. The come to Granny or Clerks. Which one do you reckon is the
Okay,
winner?
I would have gone for "Come to Granny" if you'd spelled "come" right. So I'm going to have to stand with Clerks. Yeah,
Gemma Williams, you win. Well done. Well done.
I'm just saying, if you don't know how to spell "come" and all of its derivatives, you just ain't from around here.
She's not. She's British.
Yes, she's from down south.
So is this a collaboration between American and British people?
Yes.
Yes, USUK, USUK. Yeah.
It is. Okay. Okay.
So really quickly, this whole
That's
show
so
started
sad.
because it really is. Alex is my lover, and we met on the internet a couple years ago, like I do all men. And he asked me to be up on his podcast, and that's how it started a long time ago. And now we're here. We've turned in this thing where it's all just one big observation of how fucking weird our cultures are and how much we don't understand each other. And we also get on amazing guests like your fucking self, sir. Mike Strawn, you have been amazingly interesting. You've been so hilariously funny. Thank you so fucking much for coming on, man.
You're quite welcome. I love to. I renew myself by making really bad jokes about things. So
I loved it.
Can we ask USUK or
Sure.
the Tatnus? USUK or Tatnus with Keith McCleary? Which one?
It's Tatnus. I've been on Tatnus many times. I think that my biggest problem is
We love Keith, by the way. He's a good friend of ours.
he's just so fucking Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Can I show you something really quick, if you don't mind?
We'd love to see your penis.
I sign my books in many ways. But I always try and be, topical. For instance, let me just give you a couple. My dog looked so cute. He was sitting on the couch, licking his balls and making a real nutsack meal of it. And I thought it would be sweet to have him lick the cover of your book. Love, Mike Strawn. But I have one in here it says, It's Canadian. Oh, here's another one. I heard that you play Jeff. I heard that you play guitar, so I'll keep this simple. At best, this book is a 3-chord jam with a shitty bridge and a 13-minute drum solo.
Nickelback. I love Nickelback, boys.
I'm looking for my. So let's see. I was getting. Well, the basic gist of it was that, like, dear Dean, I have a corner of my living room that has a potted plant in it. It's very cold over there. It's very green, and we don't think about it much, but when we do, we call it Canada. So Keith McClary came from there, and ever since I've been trying to make him pay for it.
So nice. It's good. We love Keith to death. He has been a great friend of this podcast. So all this is said in jest with love and admiration. And I live right next to North Canada, and I really don't want my ass fucking beat down. So I love him the most. Out of everyone, he's the most attractive male I've ever seen in my life. I mean, when you just think about like the movie 300, all that comes to my mind is Keith and rippling abs.
DVD right here. That's his documentary.
Yeah, that's him. That's the guy right there. That's the guy that's gonna kill me. So
signed it too. Look.
Yeah. Fucking
okay. Yeah, you know what the advisory is for?
What? I'm afraid to ask.
Because he's a wanker. I love him.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
I love him.
Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We gotta do this again.
To piss so bad.
You guys, you've been just a pain in the ass.
Thank you. And you, sir, are just so fucking interesting. I got to talk to you more because I've never met someone so enthusiastic about their work, and it makes me enthusiastic to talk to you. We have this happen sometimes. People come on the show, and we end up getting this infectious feeling that's not an STD. It is a fucking feeling of joy and love, and that is what we're getting off you right now, Mr. fucking Mike Strawn.
Well, unfortunately, it is an STD, and we'll have to talk about that later, but okay.
4 weeks' time. Let's plan a show for 4 weeks' time. Let's get you back on, and we'll actually get TS to actually talk on this next one.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been like,
you're a talkative little shit, aren't you?
Me?
No idea.
Shut the fuck up, Tom. You talk to
me. He's one of these guys like he's like a DP. You know, it's like you get 4 or 5 drinks and I swear to God, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Okay, right. Let's see this. Right, okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining this show this week. It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed this. I've laughed. It's the longest show we've done and the most fun we've definitely had. You can check. We have a number of different shows on USUK. You can check them all out on usuk.podbean.com. We have lots going on there, and there's USUK Chronicles, the brand new show that's just been launched today by TS down there and Jamie Westwood. They've just had you tell them very quickly. You've got about 30 seconds to tell people about your show. Go.
5.
Basically, a superhero bar fight without the bar fight. The intro's changed, and we have amazing interviews with really good people. We're stayed over this week. They're dogs. They're men dressed as dogs that play heavy metal kids music. Cheers.
Perfect.
What dog doesn't?
Well, exactly.
Mick, you've been fantastic. Thank you very, very much for joining us. If you stay backstage, we'll say proper goodbyes to you. But thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you later. TS, thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, sorry I didn't speak.
And he's out. Across the Atlantic,
so
high
good.
five.
That was air high five. This has been USUK Podcast. I love these guys. I love them to bits. Thank you so much.